Hello, aho, hello. I'm going live today with Jerome Shaw, one of the most magical beings I've met so far. And I'm gonna add him to the live somehow. Jerome, if you can tell me hi. Hello to everyone who's tuning in. We're going to have a beautiful, deep conversation about all things relevant. Okay. Did that work? Yay!
Hello, aho, hello,
Hello.
for sure.
We're both wearing blue. That's interesting.
Hey, great minds. What they say.
Oh my gosh.
Oh man, what you said, Ivanna? You said hello, aho, hello.
I'm trying to include all kinds of consciousness here.
All kinds of consciousness. Oh man, all consciousness matters. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. What's going on? You glowing today.
Thank you. Yeah, I took those 15 minutes to get ready and set my vibe. I noticed there's a part of me that feels mad anxiety or depression as soon as I wake up, but it's an aspect. It's like a concept that my mind knows how to merge with sometimes and make me feel like it's the whole of me, and it's what should be my main focus. Anxiety or depressive thought patterns. They're just thought patterns. They're not tangible unless I make them so. And it's just like this paradox, right? Between the tangible and the intangible, and just like learning what kind of percentage we're dedicating to each aspect of the self, mind, body, soul, finances, family, other kinds of relationships, friendships, romantic relationships, our relationship to our goals, our relationship to money, our relationship to nature, and how much we feel we're in synchronicity with it, or in symbiosis with. Yeah.
Wow.
Sunlight is so healing. I need more fire in my life, but I'm always so attracted to water and air vibes in people, I guess, because I'm that way. That's kind of like that's my language. Yeah. I think I'm a mermaid.
Yeah, I mean, water and air, it's definitely, because you're a Gemini and a Scorpio, so you got the water and the air. So it would make sense, it makes sense that like attracts like, we're attracting each other. I'm an Aquarius and a Scorpio, so I have the air and the water as well. And so we embrace those elements, or as you would like to say, those aspects,
Yeah.
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 So
My mom was an Aquarius sun, and for those who don't know, my mother passed away in May 7th of 2020, just 2 months after this whole pandemic was announced, and it really hit me hard emotionally. I really went into a inner paralysis of a reset, and it was just very intense, like any hardship can be, or perception of hardship, right? Like I'm still learning to shift my language around death and impermanence and our purpose and our ability to flow. And my mother was an Aquarius sun, and I'm still getting to know more about the Aquarius energy because I'm more knowledgeable about other ones, I think, or aware, I guess, not knowledgeable. But this is all info we can tap into anyway, but I love exchanging ideas. What do you think is very Aquarius of you? Because I would love to see what parts of my mother can meet in the middle with what you're saying, because I really resonate with your consciousness and with hers. But between her and I, you know, there were wounds, there were situations that created wounds. And even after her passing, I'm still dealing with that. So just hearing loving friends going deep about what they love and what's made them feel pain, and forced them or invited them to deal with it. Because we can choose not to deal with something we're experiencing in our immediate physical reality. We can go to coping mechanisms, we can go full ignoring or eyes walling, whatever it is that we're not trying to face. Understandably so, understandably so, understandably so. So what's very Aquarius of you?
Yeah, that's a question that no one's ever asked me before, Ivanna. I love that. You know,
Because we're entering the age of Aquarius and exiting the age of Pisces, collectively speaking, as humanity, because of timing, because of nature's placement in the cosmos, nature's placement here, vibration here, and placement in the cosmos. So what are we entering into with this Aquarian energy? Does anything come for you with that?
Indeed, indeed. What are we entering into? You know, it's like it's kind of like the video I sent you from that clip with Avatar: The Last Airbender, when Uncle Iroh was talking to Prince Zuko, and he was explaining, you know, air is the element of freedom. And that's kind of how I look at air and Aquarius. It values freedom. It's like if you try to trap air, it'll suffocate, or you might suffocate along with it. You know, valuing that freedom, being able to express that freedom, and also going with the flow as we go, you know, as it were. So Aquarius is, I believe, the water bearer. So being able to carry that as well, and understanding those aspects and elements of yourself that many people may not get, you know, or may not understand, but that you're still able to embrace the things that you face. So, you know, Ivanna, when you were talking about anxiety and waking up with that, and what is one of the breath works that you enjoy doing? Something that, you know, you could do for just a couple of minutes that might get you back into being, instead of, you know, the frequency of doing, you know, what pulls you back, as it were, with the breath?
If not music or dancing or singing, which usually does it for me, because there's breath work involved in all of that as well, but it's not necessarily conscious breath work. Sometimes, I guess. Breath of Fire is not something I enjoy yet, I guess, because I'm a beginner, but I did feel a lot of well-being after I was done with it. And of course, I did it mostly in social environments, because it's so motivating to have so many people around you that are like-minded, like-hearted, and share that soul resonance with you of like, hey, we all have pain. Can we just keep coming up with healthier coping mechanisms for ourselves and each other in union, you know, in spaces where we're held? Because it's normal to cry. It's normal for some people to even experience a rise in their kundalini or horniness in 3D language, basically. And it's just energy buildup, movement, and anything that creates energy buildup or movement or deeper awareness is a good exercise. But as far as breath work for myself, just deep inhalations and deep exhalations. And I really like to put affirmations every single day, even on the days where my human self is feeling like, oh no, I'm too lazy to hear the same thing again. But it's just very important to dedicate a little bit of our morning routine, rising routine, or bedtime routine to listen to a repeated, timed session of positive affirmations, because that is truth. Those are the ultimate truths. From our own ability to pour onto our own cup, even just like our own body's ability to segregate what this society in the 3D values as wine, for example. You know, like Jesus turned water into wine. We are learning to turn our waters into something like money, for example.
Wow, that's alchemy.
Men and women, the masculine and the feminine, we're all learning to see how it all makes sense. We're all learning to feel how it all makes sense. That's how I perceive it so far, how I've perceived it so far.
That's alchemy.
Yeah,
That's
it's
like, you know,
honorable.
you're changing something,
Hard.
changing something from one thing to another. You know, that sort of transmutation of energy. That's alchemy, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
when it comes to breath work, have you tried box breathing? You said you like the deep inhalations and exhalations. Have you tried box breathing?
If I have, I don't remember, but this like breath work. I was gonna say conference, but you know that's too formal. That's too 3D. To like whatever. Reunion. We did many breathwork exercises, but I don't remember all of them.
Yeah, yeah. We can try it together if you like. Would you like to
I
try it now?
love that because I'm low key nervous right
Yeah,
now.
yeah. That's what I was proposing. That's
Things
what I
in
was.
my mind, and I would love to do that. And
Awesome.
also, I'm like the kind of learner that likes to learn alongside of another person
Of course.
that is also interested and or passionate about it. Um, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm ready.
Awesome, awesome. We're ready. So, yeah, box breathing is pretty easy to do. And, you know, it's a technique that has been done by many, also like Navy SEALs. It's something that can, you know, bring you back into the right frame of mind, such as the music that you have in the background is so lovely, Ivanna. And that's
Can
also,
you hear it? I'm so excited.
yeah,
I wanted
I
to put it
really,
a little louder, but I was like, maybe it's not. I don't know, whatever.
yeah,
Thanks
I
for.
enjoy that. You know, that's kind of, you're fine tuning your frequency, you know, you're raising your vibration. It's music, it's loving, but it also has those tones that kind of get into the body, as it were. So box breathing, we can kind of you can do for a count of 4. I'll walk us through it. And so we'll inhale through the nose, and we're gonna hold at the top for 4, and then we're gonna exhale for 4, and then we'll hold at the bottom for 4, and then we'll repeat.
Just
Yeah,
to make sure, exhaling through the mouth or the nose.
whichever you like. Yeah, whichever you're comfortable with. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. But
Okay.
inhaling through the nose, and then we'll hold, we'll exhale, we'll hold, and repeat. So I'll walk us through it. You ready?
Okay. I'm
All
ready.
right. All right. Awesome. So inhale, hold, exhale, hold, 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 Inhale. Hold. Exhale. Hold. Inhale. Hold. Exhale. Hold. 2 more times. Inhale. Hold. Exhale. Hold. Inhale. Hold. Exhale.
And like it, like
What?
y'all can have this live now. I'm good work. Can I even open my eyes right now? I was somewhere else I couldn't name, and it was great.
Awesome, awesome. I love it.
Thank you so much. I'm so grateful. It was so helpful, so useful, so necessary.
Thank you, thank you. And it's always available.
Yes, unlike psychedelics, because it's external source. That.
Oh man, you said it took you somewhere else.
Yeah, that I can't name because it's like nothingness, and it's so healing and resetting. I don't even remember the benefits until I do it, and that's why it probably has to be part of my lifestyle every day, because that's what's gonna help me become a better vessel, or a more like a lighter vessel. Not necessarily better, but lighter. Better for whoever deems it better, I guess.
Yeah, and thank you to everyone who joined in. We have a couple people who said that they joined us, that they were doing it with us. Much love. Much love.
I'm just scrolling real quick to say hi to everyone. I'm so grateful that I get to attract people that are into this, because there comes a point where we're all just so tired of being tired, and so sick of being sick. Why do I have to be sick and tired? Let me have the intention. Let me follow the intention of getting into this other vibration, where I can see more clearly and I can feel more myself, or the way that I want to feel. More like God, more like Goddess. These like higher or lighter, more enjoyable, more pleasant, more at ease, and more powerful vibrations that we can all tap into. I'm so thankful you are so good at this breathwork thing.
Wow.
How did you get self-convinced to do it? Because it does take some effort, depending on our diet, our willingness, how blocked or constricted we may be here. So what made you be like, okay, Jerome, it's time.
Yeah.
It's time. It's time. What made you say it?
Yeah, great question. The same thing that I'm sure made you want to tap back into the goddess of self, as it were. Like you said, sometimes we're sick of being sick, and we get to the point where we say enough is enough. I feel like we only make drastic or profound changes on any level. It's usually due to inspiration or desperation.
I have to write that down. I know.
Yeah, I mean, often that's the case. You know, the great motivators, we either have to be desperate or we have to be inspired. And for me, it was a mixture of both. And I love how you said earlier, Eva, you said that sometimes you don't even remember the benefits until you do it, you know, until you do something, then you remember. So breath work is kind of one of those beautiful reminders, you know, something that you can come back to that brings you back to yourself. It's a gift that can keep on giving. Yeah.
I agree. I resonate with that. Yeah, like we said the other day, agreeing is something of the mind and resonance is something of the heart. Or that's how I resonates with me. It resonates.
I see what you did there. I see what you did.
Yeah. So I got this, finished it. My head kind of finished it. My mind kind of finished it. Inspiration or desperation creates forward movement.
Ooh,
Would
I
you
like
recommend
that.
that?
I like that movement. And you're all about that. Sheesh. Mm-hmm.
I I enjoy tapping into those versions of myself. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I also find darkness in myself arising when I move because the movements unlock certain energies
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
for our inner being and our consciousness. And I notice, for example, when I'm salsa dancing, which is something I'm taking increasingly more seriously, or more, I don't like the word serious, but you know what I mean. Everyone knows what I mean with that. I'm so passionate about it, about the things that I'm passionate about. And for me, like the main thing that comes as far as physical movement is salsa, right? But it, you know, from the outside, for someone who's not necessarily involved with that environment or community, might be like, oh, it's just like a cardio.
Mm.
It's fun, cardio. No, like you're dealing with so many insecurities while you're moving like that because you have to tap into your sensuality in order to enjoy this.
Right, right, right,
You
right.
have tap into your ability to non-verbally communicate with whoever,
Mm-hmm.
every, everyone,
Mm-hmm.
at all times, at a very fast-paced situation, because salsa dancing invites a lot of extroverted people or introverted people that are open to experiencing extrovertedness around them or in them, and
Yeah.
it's just so, it's so good. It feels great to salsa dance, but there are periods where you might be like, you know, you experience thoughts of comparison or competition, or uh, perceived lack of self-worth,
Mm.
or oh, I'm too skinny. I don't have as much energy as these other people, or
Oh, okay.
um, or like, oh, I look like a stick. I'm not as voluptuous and sensual as these other women because this and that. And it's just like my own insecurities or fears or illusions
Mm-hmm.
come out to the surface for me to deal with, and I have to alchemize that and transmute that in real time.
Wow. So the illusions, you said the illusions come out and the judgment comes in.
Mm, yeah.
So seeing yourself around others and then comparing yourself to others. Okay.
Come up. And it's all in the conversation of a deep part of my inner being. It's not what's in the forefront or in my prefrontal cortex per se, but like many thoughts of even resentment or anger towards my family. And
Mm.
also it shifts with gratitude, and it shifts with presence and enjoyment and sensuality. Like I'm experiencing all these things, like this is darkness and this is light, and they're doing this. And you have to play with that, and you have to like use that because that's your energy. That's
Mm-hmm.
your past, your present, your future
Mm-hmm.
are something of the mind that it has to deal with 24/7
Mm-hmm.
until we come to these breathwork practices that allow us to recenter ourselves, come back to the heart, see more clearly, feel more alive and be able to go to wherever it feels aligned.
Mm-hmm. Wow, the dance of light and darkness.
Dance.
You know.
And we can't. I mean, we can't dance alone. But if we want to go fast, we would go alone. But if we want to go far, we would go together. And there's a lot of that in salsa dancing, because I love dancing solos and by myself, but there's just like so much growth when I allow myself to, while using my energy experiment, be handled in my sensuality, in my open, in my energy, in my musicality, all of that which is sacred to me and intimate. I have to expose it and flaunter. Flaunter, is that how you say it? Or like, you know, use it and like inspire.
Flaunt it. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Because
yeah.
I'm fired up. Salsa is where my fire is at. For
Wow. Wow.
dance, any kind of dance. Afro dance, Afro beats is like also my thing. It's so good. I'm not so good at it, but I love all of it. All of it.
Wow.
I love all of it.
Wow.
And that's
Wow.
what my fire is at. I'm very watery, very airy. I also have earth in me, but because I'm a Virgo Mars, and that's how I think of work. That's like my work ethic, very Virgo. But I'm also very Gemini Sun and scattered, and I deal with like all these thoughts of polarity and duality and how to neutralize it and all of that. And I'm overwhelmed by my own mind sometimes. So thank you and the breath work that you're bringing into my day and beautiful people's days,
Of
because
course.
to
Of
be
course.
safe.
My pleasure. You know, Ivanna, something came to mind when you were speaking that I found so lovely. You know, you talked about the enjoyment that you might get from being handled, you know? And have there ever been times?
It's scary. That's scary.
Okay.
You can get stepped on. You can um, get, yeah, to say the least, you know, tip of the iceberg is getting stepped on. But then you can also get your ass grabbed, or you can be handled very roughly or too softly, and then you have no direction, right? Masculine is like that directive leading energy, and the feminine energy tends to be more of a follower, more like we have a lot to teach, but in our own way, in a way that polarizes with that of the masculine. So it all comes out in salsa. It's just very deep. I can't possibly explain everything with words. Right now, I don't know if she's tapped in right now, but my teacher, one of my teachers, she's so amazing. Joanna, Joa La Morena, here in the comments.
Oh.
She knows everything that you and I are talking about is true, because
Shout out.
mentality and sensuality go together. Confidence, faith, self-love, teamwork, focus, nonverbal energy. All these yummy things is amazing. So the men have to learn for salsa how to be direct and clear and in their power, and also in a little bit of their flirtationship, because it's impossible to look good in salsa if you're just gonna be a rational, robotic, left brain person who's not trying to like blend in with the environment. No, you have to kind of like flow like water. It's like the merge of all of the elements. You have to be grounded, because in order to be able to control your body and stop after turns, after whether that's the guy or the woman, the man or the woman, you have to be grounded in order to stop and control your own body, your weight, your force, your speed. That's grounding. That's the ground. That's the earth element. Water, you have to be flowy. You have to be circular minded and use all of your body parts with compassion and flow and ease, and you know, in a unified way. Then air, ideas, what are you coming up with? Like movement, where are you going? And then fire is that, like what we call sabor, the flavor. When you see someone dancing, you're like, ooh, they got that something.
The
You feel
spice.
like this energy that they exude of like, I'm sexy and I know it. And you're
Spicy.
gonna watch me. And
Yeah.
you're gonna love it. And then you're gonna wanna do it for yourself, and you're gonna see how you are your own fireball of energy that can self-regenerate through love, through doing things that we love, through being about things that we love, and through being with people we love, and others to do the same. If that's what feels aligned for them, of course, everybody is out here doing what they feel is best for them, and everyone's doing their best. But salsa just helps quiet the mind for me, as well as breath work, and they're so different because one is more about conscious breathing, the other one's more conscious about using my physical body. It's all beautiful. I'm so
So Ivanna, speaking of going along the lines of being handled, and having that partnership, because like you said, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. And you've been teaching me that we are never truly alone, that the universe always sends someone, right? So how could you find a comparison with salsa and perhaps the universe being its own kind of dance partner in your life, where you're allowing yourself, you know what I mean?
I swear I'm gonna cry now. Because you make light bulbs light up when you speak, because you connect dots in my head. Salsa is what heals me and makes me a better family member to my blood related people on earth this lifetime. And although sometimes I have felt very alone, very betrayed and disappointed, and like hurt, deeply hurt by my family members, my blood family. Until this day, a lot of me thinks that when I'm back to Venezuela, I'm like, oh my God, what am I here to enjoy besides, this would sound like a first world problem, my cause and a beautiful natural environment in Caracas, Venezuela, where I'm from. Yeah, that's beautiful. Yes, spiritually, it's very enriching to experience that. But I feel like a lot of my dominant ego aspects are still holding on to stories about how I feel and why I feel that way around my blood family. And so when I go there, I'm like, it's the same narcissistic behavior all over again. And I feel victimized by it. And I'm trapped by my own mindset, right? Because and they're not going to change on my ego's terms, right? Because my soul knows all is well. But my soul wants to feel good, and my soul recognizes that it cannot fully detach from my ego 24/7, because I'm human and I'm imperfect and I'm flawed. And I don't want to argue for my limitations, because I love the statement that our potential is in. Oh, someone called me. But I was saying that
You love the statement.
where we're infinite in our power and ability to grow, to tap into our highest potential yet, most pleasant, most powerful potential yet. But it takes time, because we are in a body, and the body exists in the 3D, where it's all about timing and obsession with timing. And whether we like it or not, our bodies exist in the realm of time. I feel like with our lifestyle choices and our willingness to go deeper into holistic health practices, breath work, or maybe psychedelics, or maybe whatever other thing makes us feel enlightened, to get lighter, to get more in our power, basically. But there are uploads of ideas that come to me when I want. Sorry, someone texted me. I kind of lost my train of thought. But salsa unifies me with my family, unifies me to my heart center, and It's what helps me see the full picture.
Mm-hmm.
It helps me get into acceptance about that which I cannot change, that I don't like, and my purpose,
Mm-hmm.
and also my ability to love and receive love. A big part of my ego gets frustrated because I'm like, I don't want to go back and see them. I don't have anything to say new, and they already don't approve of me and what I like, how I like to live my life. So I don't want to keep exposing myself to situations and places where I have to prove myself.
Mm-hmm.
Like, no. No. um my family, for example, would have zero interest in meeting my current friends. We're too deep. And yeah, I see the part of my ego that gets proud about it, like, pride, yes, feels good. But I also want to include them in my life to the degree that they would like to, but also not to the degree where I would be so drained I forget about my purpose and become suicidal. So what is my purpose? That's also something I wanted to ask you. I was like, oh, I want to ask you around this. For you, what is purpose? Because I know what that feels like for me, but it's like a ever-changing definition.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it kind of also goes along with the theme of impermanence. You know, when you were talking about impermanence nature, that was one of the things that I learned from living amongst the monks and nuns from Myanmar. They taught me that impermanence can be beautiful, and I didn't know that before. So that everything is not static. You know, everything's in a mode of constant change, kind of like the law of vibration. It talks about the world is an ocean of motion. You know, things that don't even look like they're moving, they're moving. You know, they're changing, and we are the same way. And that can go along with something that you discover to be your purpose, because purpose is such a powerful word. One might think that they have to find their purpose or search for their purpose or seek their purpose. And that was the mind that I had until I adopted the mind when a millionaire told me that you don't have to necessarily find your purpose, that you can decide what it is. You can come to the natural.
Makes me want to pound my chest like a gorilla, I swear.
Oh my gosh.
I swear, I just want to scream. That just made me want to scream. That just created like waves inside.
Oh man, you crack me up, Eva. I love it. I love it. You a ball of energy for real. Like,
I feel too many things at once. Who out here is going through the same? Who out here is having the guts to do this? Raise your fucking hand! I swear! We be fucking handling so much at the same time. And our motherfucking ego comes through and we let it in because we are so bound to the concept of time, but it's just a concept. We don't have to live in it 24/7, 365.
mm-hmm.
And that's also a concept of time. But we all trying to merge duality here and polarize, at least to see the unity between polarity.
Mm-hmm.
Once we see it, it's not that tangibly everything magically changes immediately, but because time is still a portion of the equation, and time doesn't obey the wishes of the ego, not all of them at least. Not for me, so far, I guess. But yeah, man.
Isn't
Wow.
it, you know, when you say that as well, I find, Ivanna, that's even another thing to be grateful for. That time does not obey the wishes of the ego, because there is a lapse. You know what I mean? Can you
Because there
imagine?
is a what? I missed that part.
There's a lapse or a delay between the things in our mind and the manifestations,
Yeah,
you know,
allow.
and that is our concept or our perception of time, as it were. Even though in another perception of time, things may happen in the blink of an eye, to us it might take years. So could you imagine a world, Eva, where as soon as your ego or as soon as you thought something that you either wanted or didn't want, it happened immediately, right? That time obeyed the wishes of your ego. What kind of world would this be if every time you had a thought, it would manifest instantly? Exactly.
Sometimes my ego could be convinced about wanting something that in the grand scheme of things is not necessarily helpful to feel better, to feel more accomplished or enlightened, like lighter in consciousness. Like we can clearly feel and see more, so that we feel less victimized by suffering, because we see the whole picture of how darkness plays into light and how without darkness there's no light, and but also we can't be stuck in darkness because that's not what it's about. Evolution is like, I don't know, man. Yeah, my mind did that egg scrambly thing now again. But I love how you put it. That was excellent. If my negative thoughts, if my positive thoughts could materialize in the timing of my ego, then also my negative thoughts could do that.
You see? You
And
see
that
what I
would be
mean?
horrible. Because what if my
So,
mind's like, oh, chainsaw through my arm? Ah! Like, what? The mind's so crazy sometimes. It comes up with its own situations if we're not fully present in our breath and in our heart center, in our intentions, and in community that helps us stay aligned within all of that when it feels like we are carrying too heavy of a burden with our mind.
right. So that's what, and I agree with you. So it's like, thank goodness that there's a lapse, or there's
Thank goodness, but then Mike was like, no, I want to complain. This is horrible. Take me out of here. This body is too limiting. I have wings. You don't see them, but they're here. And then everyone's like, yeah, you can't fly. I'm like, yes, I can in here. And in here, you don't can see it because you can't do it. So I'm better than you. Like, this earth sucks sometimes. I don't know. It's just illusionary levels of consciousness. Temporary. Temporary. Some temporary shit. Thankfully, it's temporary. I mean, when I saw my mom pass away, it was horrifically. I didn't see her, by the way. We spoke on FaceTime the night previous to that, to her passing physically. Woo! And we cried together. We spent time over the phone together. I couldn't travel to Venezuela because the government decided to close all airports because they're trying to protect people from the sniffles, right? Obviously not, but whatever. Point is, I was thankful that she stopped suffering physically. Like, if that was her fate or her destiny, there literally wasn't anything else I could have done more than what I did humanly possible. And as far as the metaphysical and spiritual realm, I continued to do the work every day. I say hi to her and I tell her my things. Sometimes I can't always do it because it can get me in a very crying mood, and depending on where I am, I'll kind of like self-regulate. It's honorable to be able to be willing to self-regulate with compassion and with athleticism and breath work and all these healthy activities and aspects of the self that we can focus on in the name of holistic health for humanity's evolution. Because the insides reflect our outsides and vice versa, and it's all like a crazy roller coaster. I love how you speak, and it's so inspiring and sweet, like a story, and it makes the heart feel amazing. Jerome, you have a gift as a communicator and as a listener and as a writer, and you're just, wow. I'm so grateful that all these people get to witness all of you and what we've been speaking about, because it's so touching, so touching.
Thank you for that. You know, I received that, and I'm grateful that I get to witness. You know, it's a blessing to be a blessing, and to witness yourself. You know, that you're ever expanding, like we say around the theme of impermanence. And something you said before, Ivanna, that I love to touch on. You mentioned the word compassion, and I feel like this word is so important. It's such a powerful word, compassion. And we only touched a little bit on before your experience and what you went through when you were in the wheelchair. And I would love to learn from you, what did compassion mean to you in that state? And has it changed the meaning of compassion today?
Yeah, it expanded me very roughly, very abruptly, but it felt easier and easier to handle, to navigate through, to manage, like the hardship or the density I had to deal with outside of me and inside of me while on a wheelchair. Like compassion for me required the lack of it to get to. And I probably said some hurtful things to my mother, to my father, to my sister at times. And I picked my broken glasses up after I realized how much I did not want inflammation to be part of my life or my body. And compassion, when I started feeling like self-compassionate and towards others, it required me to cry a lot, and to feel a lot of anger, and to scream a lot, and to write a lot, and to be alone a lot, and to change my friendships, or to leave them in that segment of my life that I wanted to leave. Because these friends, not that they were fake or anything, I'm so deeply grateful for every single one of the relationships I've ever come across, whatever their purpose or intent was. I'm so grateful for it all. I'm good now. I am willing to keep on learning what compassion means, but for me, it also meant looking at myself in the mirror, doing mirror work, mirror talks every single day. And engaging with psychedelics helped me a lot. I'm not saying it is for everyone if they don't feel they're ready, but I'm saying it is for everyone who feels they're ready. Because so no, you know, the choice is still everyone else's, but it helped me tap into levels of compassion I'm not necessarily sure I would have nowadays if I had never gone through those experiences. And that is because I didn't have also friends of your color of consciousness back then that were gentle and knew the powers of breath work, and like, hey, no, probably you want to experiment with some breath work before you get into psychedelics, because you can tap out of it if it feels too intense, but you will still reap benefits. And everything happened perfectly as it was meant to happen. And compassion also meant for me petting a lot of dogs. I hated cats my whole life because I was raised to not like them, to fear them, to insult them, even before engaging with them myself. And so I you know, I came to be 22, and here I am having to deal with cats here and there because they're close to me, whether in the street or they're my friends or whatever. And I'm not gonna be a fucking weirdo. Sorry for the ghetto part, but like not blend with my now moments, because I'm flowing and I want to fall into acceptance and compassion for all that is. So I started researching the spiritual meaning of cats, and cats taught me about compassion as well. Although some can be bipolar, just like some people, others are not. And I discovered that through self-experimentation, just like every other thing I ever discovered, and having faith that I can reparent myself, having faith that I can be my own nutritionist, my own scientist, and believe that, and get rid of or shrink the voices inside of me, for example, from my parents or my family or my environment, the doctors in my country or whatever that I saw or didn't see, the ones I heard of, that no, you have to do as authority says. And in order to be authority, you have to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars. In order to be respected by society, 3D society, consciousness, you have to spend a lot of money. And you have to show that you have a lot of money. And if you don't get these degrees and these titles, you can't even tell someone to eat an apple because you're not a nutritionist, you're not a doctor. So that was really hard for me to get out of at 19 when I started feeling crippled. It was actually at 16. That's when I started feeling deep pain waking up every day, all day, 24/7, since 16 years old. And since 7, my fingers started to look like this. And it's probably the second time I show my hands on Instagram. But yeah, this is a product of what I have found resonates for me and I agree with based on my experience and everything I've researched. And I love reading about both sides of the coin on every topic because I am Mrs. Messenger on how to neutralize polarity, or that's what I feel like is resonant in me.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. No, I really appreciate it. Yeah.
A lot of hugging and sharing my vulnerabilities with people. That taught me to be compassionate. Being compassionate about myself was to like not be fearful of sharing my story, my vulnerabilities, which I still am navigating through deeper layers of that, of acceptance, of compassion, of showing my raw vulnerabilities. And because I do wish to be consolation for others, presence for others who want that, and relief. And how can you be that for others if you haven't been that for yourself? That's compassion, that's presence, that's empathy. And so slowly but surely, each presence, each experience taught me about compassion, compassionate presence.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Wow. I love, there are sometimes you say things, Ivanna, that I've never heard people address me in that way. Like the other day you told me, your parallels in other universes must be rejoicing or doing great things, your parallels. And today you told me that you didn't always have people in the same color of consciousness as me. And I never heard anybody say things like this, like the color of consciousness. What do you mean the color of consciousness? Like part of me was like, ah, I love that. And some of the things that I enjoy doing when it comes to gazing, when it comes to the eyes, which I understand are very important as well when you have a partner and dancing with somebody else, the eyes. But I enjoy sun gazing and candle gazing. But when you talked about mirror gazing, gazing at yourself in a mirror, gazing back at your own reflection, how did that play a role on you? Because you talked about talking to yourself in the mirror. I think sometimes that's one of the toughest things for people to do, is to face themselves. So, yeah.
So if you had to talk to your own inner child about everything that your adult self is dealing with and has been dealing with since birth, because even if our conscious mind doesn't remember parts of us that might feel in pain, our subconscious feels pain, and it's not necessarily logical. So going to the heart and the mirror and your eyeballs, and in privacy and time, space, and silence and sacredness, you go into a conversation with your inner child, or that's what I did. That I like to go into conversation with my inner child and ask questions and breathe and do breath work together, and like tap into how it would feel to hug myself, my inner child. These things are for the people that are willing to exercise some courage, because this makes the throat chakra and the heart chakra like activate in a way like like the glands, they actually expand and contract in real time. This is what the typical scientific response is of things that stimulate the kundalini.
Yeah.
You know, movement, a mixture of movement and stillness with higher oxygenation of the body. This is extremely stimulating. And the way to navigate the emotional intensity of doing mirror talk with your inner child, or with aspects of yourself that are not necessarily your inner child, because inner children are innocent. The child in us, the child energy in us that was physical and is now internal and spiritual and emotional, is handled by these practices of relaxation, and the decision of being making the decision of being fully present, taking accountability and responsibility for our own vibrational weight, requires that we talk to our inner children as often as possible, probably daily. Especially for our generation, the millennials. We're picking up the trash that our parents, baby boomers, left us, the government, all of that, these structures that are now transcending right into their next purpose, both on earth and out of earth. We are now becoming like what we were taught is the authority of the economy outside, and that means we have to talk to our inner children, because we're reparenting ourselves, and that takes all the effort that it will take. And the first step is talking to the child, like, okay, mommy and daddy are now here in these eyeballs that are looking at you, and you let yourself laugh, you let yourself panic, you let yourself be angry, you let yourself cry and scream and temper tantrum, and you know, this is a therapy, so it has to be done in a sacred setting, just like any other psychedelic substance, for enlightenment, because all of this is for enlightenment, for the evolution of humanity. What was the phrase that we said last time? As within, so without. Yeah. The children are the future of the world, but the children never left. The children in our lives, in our protagonist ego self, is still here. It will never leave, but it can be buried deeper and deeper under the ground in the urn, but they don't die because they're not in the physical realm, but they're in the consciousness realm. And we can either ignore them and suffer, or face our pain and heal it and transmute it and alchemize it and pleasurize it, right? Because like we have to be able to see the full picture. It requires compassion, presence, being able to talk to our inner child.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. Wow. It's like all it takes is all you've got, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. They
Have to write it down.
Oh, thank you so much, Ivanna. Thank you for exercising courage. You know, thank you for doing the work with yourself, raising, you know, like they say, it takes a village. And you can take part in that. You can take part in raising yourself as well, you know. So, oh my goodness. I really appreciate this session with you. All these sessions that we have together are always so expansive. They always take us somewhere where we didn't know we were going to go. You know, we didn't anticipate that direction, but it's a beautiful reminder once again of these things that we all have within. Like you said, the child never left. The children never left. They're all still here. They're still here. So, wow. Much love.
Much love.
Yeah.
The whole Peter Pan movie left us something to think about. That's you know, I feel like society didn't really go deep into the meaning of the Peter Pan movie, but there's beautiful things to be felt about it and how it relates to our society nowadays and the work that we're doing internally to materialize our spiritual wealth.
It's been a while since I've seen that movie. That could probably be a whole topic all on its own.
Yeah, yeah. Whenever you're ready for that, let me know. I have to watch it again if we're gonna talk about it live. But
so we'll do that'll be part 3.
Okay, that can be part 3. Peter Pan. I was gonna say Chronicles, but that doesn't really feel good.
Chronicles of Consciousness.
Chronicles. Oh my god, that sounds great.
There you go. My gosh. Thank you. Oh, Ashley, shout out to Ashley. She said The Little Prince should be reread by adults. The Little Prince.
The Little Prince. I love it. We can talk about that as well. Oh my god, I love everyone in this live so much, and everyone that's not longer here, but they were. And so I'm so grateful. This is so fun.
All right. Well, till next time.
Till next time, Jerome. Thank you. I'll see you soon. Bye, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. I love you all so much. Joa, Ashley, Boyka, everyone, Mike. Oh my God, I'm so thankful.
Take care.
Okay. Bye. See you soon.